Welcome to the Angel Mystic Podcast. I am super excited you are listening because this is where spiritually open minds can come together to explore the wonders of angels, spiritual connections, and the art of manifesting. Hosted by me, Amanda Took, the Angel Mystic, your spiritual midwife to help you on your journey to a fulfilling and happy life. You may have seen me on ITV, Channel 4, or even in Fate and Fortune magazine. In each episode, we will delve into the mystical world of angels, offering you insights, guidance, practical tools to deepen your connection with the upstairs so that you can find inner peace, happiness, joy, and create the life that you want. Tune in for weekly, fun conversations, transformational insights that will elevate your spiritual journey and awaken your inner mystic. Please hit subscribe now as we embark on a transformational adventure with the Angel Mystic Podcast. I'm so excited to tell you that from Monday, the 24th of February to Wednesday, the 26th of February, we are doing one of my big free spiritual trainings. I love delivering these free trainings, particularly the spiritual ones, where I can help you step out your spiritual closet, start making those connections with your angels, with your guides, understanding that you are not alone in this life and that you are fully supported, and how to tap in to that team that is ready, willing and able to work with you. If you haven't booked your place now, go and do it. The link is in the show notes. It doesn't matter if you can join live or catch the replay. It's all going to be there for you to enjoy, to fully immerse yourself into and step into that spiritual being, having that human reality, but fully supported by the upstairs. I'll see you there. Welcome to a new episode on the Angel Mystic Podcast. This is a little bit off the cuff. It's just some stories to inspire you, some 5 of my favourite real life manifestation stories, things that I like to remember when things are perhaps not going quite to plan. And I like to remember them because it just shows how incredible the universe can be and how things can turn up out the blue. Because manifestation is about making real. It's about making something that you think about in your mind appear for real in your life. That could be a relationship, a person, an opportunity, a car, any material item that you want, an experience, a feeling. It can be little things. It can be big things. It can be things that you win, things that you have to pay for. It can be anything you want, but it is about making something turn up in your life. And it starts with you and deciding what it is that you want. So these 5 little stories are just there to spur you on if you are starting to feel a little bit doubtful about your manifestations, like how can it come true? How's this going to come to me? That is what we often think, isn't it? We often start doing the job of the universe and wondering how something is going to turn up. But this first story it gives me goosebumps, to be fair, and it isn't even mine. So how this lady felt when she manifested this is beyond me. And if you've been part of my big trainings in the past, my big launch trainings where we do 3 5-day trainings all for free, you may well have heard some of these stories, but I think that, well, there's definitely a couple that you won't have heard of. But I do think that these are worth hearing to urge you to continue on, because when you start to doubt, when you start to think, oh, it's not arrived yet, it's not going to happen, that's when you're cancelling your order with the universe. So the first story is, like I say, it's not mine. It's a client I was working with, and she was wanting to get her car repaired. And she lived quite rural. My voice is going all crackly because I've got spirit coming through, joining the podcast right now. She had young children at the time. She was living rural, and she had a car that desperately needed some repairs doing to it. Anyway, she knew how much the car was going to cost because she got a quote but she knew she couldn't afford it. I mean, this story just shows you how much you really have to trust. Anyway, she sent the car to the garage and had the repairs done on it. And whilst the car was at the garage, it was there for a few days, she went to a jumble sale. And it was a local jumble sale. She was mooching around there. She found a book that she really wanted. She paid a matter of pence for the book and took the book home. When she opened the book, in it was a load of euros. When she worked out the exchange rate of euros to pounds, it was exactly the amount of money she needed for the car repairs. I mean, how amazing is that? That she fully trusted that that car was going to get fixed and that money would arrive in her life somehow for her to pay. And she followed her instinct, went to the jumble sale, bought a book that caught her eye, and got home with the money in the book. How incredible. Now, she's an honest woman. She took it back to the jumble sale and said, I found this money in the book. Who handed it in? Who donated this book? Nobody knew where the book had come from, and they told her to keep the money. So if you're wanting magic and miracles in your life like that, you need to start believing. You need to start trusting in the universe that it will always provide for you. And I often like to think, well, when is it not? Because it always has. I can't tell you one time when it hasn't. The next story is my cruise story. Now, I share this one a lot, but I share it for a reason. Because at the time, when I decided that I wanted a cruise, we'd just moved house, and me and the children, if you've ever moved house, and I've done it a lot, but you will know it's exhausting. And we were moving, and my vision board all fell apart in the move, and there was only one thing left on it, which was a cruise ship, and it was propped up next to my desk, and I could just see the nose of the ship sticking up on the side of my desk. As we're moving, I said to the kids, when we're sorted, I'm going to manifest as a holiday. And I clearly remember them saying to me, what holiday? And I went, it's going to be a cruise, because I already had it on my vision board. But at that point, I didn't know how a cruise was going to come into my life. I could have thought, well, I'm going to need to get some brochures from a travel agent. I need to look online. I need to decide where I want to go. I need to decide, which cruise liner, what time of year, la, la, la. I didn't do any of that. I just set a very clear intention and I fully trusted. And guess what happened? My phone, a few days later, I think it was 10 days to be precise, later, beeped. It was one of my one-to-one clients who said, fancy a free cruise around the Canaries? Well, funny enough, I did. So I said yes, because it was so easy for me to say, oh no, I must pay. I asked the universe, it delivered, I accepted graciously. And when the booking was transferred into my name, there was space. It was a big cabin. It was for 4. I could take my kids as well. And I actually paid for my children to go, but my place was for free. And I love that because it just shows, when we don't do the how, anything can turn up in our life in the most unexpected ways. If you'd asked me, how was I going to manifest a cruise? I could not have said one of my clients is going to pay for one for me. Never would have thought that. I mean, I know 2 people that have manifested cars that have just won them out of the blue. We do not need to do the how. My next manifestation story is my favourite house. I don't know, I quite like this one that I'm in right now, but it's a house that's really, really close to our hearts, all of us. We all love this house that we lived in. And it was at the time when I'd opened my business. I was running my business as a shop in Windermere, and I was living across the road from the shop. But my lease was due to expire because it was a very short lease. And I was looking for something else for me and the kids. And I was looking and looking and looking, and I found a house that I really thought was amazing. And I thought, that's my house. I'm putting my name on that house. That's my house. But it was a rental house and there was other people applying. And long story short, I didn't get it. Even though I created a vision board, even though I'd visualize it to the hilt. And even though I'm really good at manifesting, I didn't get it. I was gutted, absolutely gutted. And I got the news on my birthday, which just ruined my birthday. But I spoke to Archangel Metatron and he said that something would come. I had 3 weeks left on the lease. Something was definitely going to come. And then 3 people came into my shop in one day and said to me, have you seen that house near the golf course? And of course I'd seen that house near the golf course. I'd looked at that house near the golf course numerous times over the last 6 months, but it was double what I could afford. But because Metatron had said it was going to work out, because 3 people came in and spoke about the same thing, I thought that is a sign I need to go and have a look. And I went up and drove up there that night, and it had a big sweeping drive, an enormous house. It was beyond anything I could have ever imagined. I moved into that house and I lived there for 5 years. Don't ask me how it happened. I don't honestly know. Even though it was double what I could have ever afforded, it all happened. It all aligned. And when I walked around that garden, there were so many little white feathers everywhere. I knew it was for me. I mean, I kept thinking, I'm going to find a dead bird here, but I never ever did. Now, as it happens, that house, like I say, it was huge. It had an annex, and I was able to sublet out the annex. That's how it became financially viable. But I would have missed that because it was double the rent, even though it kept popping up all the time. And it stood there empty for 6 months. It was like it was waiting for me. And you have to believe in miracles. And it was so strange because a few weeks later, we moved in and I was going through one of my old journals, and I'm not very good at drawing, but I drew a floor plan of my dream home and all the rooms it would have. And one of the things I put on it was, I wanted, I don't like ladders and lofts, so I wanted a big cupboard on the landing with loads of shelves, massive, like walk-in cupboard. Guess what it had? Exactly that. I also drew the picture of the front of it, and the house that we moved into was like that picture, but reversed image. I drew a swing in the garden. It had a swing in the garden. It was incredible, the detail. So do not give up on your dreams. Believe in miracles. Even when you think, oh no, that can never happen. Trust that it can. What we have to do is we have to focus on what we want. And that leads me on to my 4th story that I want to share. And this involves my son, because we come back from that said cruise that I spoke about before, and we came back to little food in the cupboards because obviously I hadn't been shopping. And we were having lunch, and I was, looking around, see what we could have. And there was 2 tins of soup. There was, Heinz cream of tomato, and there was Heinz, I think it was tomato and basil, something like that, which was a lumpy. So I shouted upstairs to him, which soup do you want? Because he liked both, but he doesn't really like lumps. I thought he'd go for the cream of tomato. Which soup do you want, Brad? And he shouted back, what I heard was tomato and basil. And I thought, well, that is weird, because I know he likes the cream of tomato. But hey, he must be switching it up. He'd eaten things on holiday he wouldn't normally eat. Maybe he's just having a change. I made that soup, heated it up. He came down for his lunch. He looked at it and he went, why have you given me that? And I went, what do you mean? And he went, you've given me the soup I said I do not want. I shouted down and said, I don't want the tomato and basil. I turned around to him and said, well, Brad, that's because you should always focus on what you want. Do not talk about what you do not want, because otherwise the universe will deliver it to you. And that has become a metaphor in our lives for all of us. And we all talk about now what we want. That is the only way to manifest what you want. If you're talking about the things that you don't want, and you're moaning and you're groaning about things that are going wrong, guess what you're going to get more of? So my final story, and I'm pretty sure I haven't shared this anywhere else, or if I have, it's only in small amounts, but it still blows my mind. A few years ago, and it's a good few years ago now, I was going down to an event in Birmingham for business. and I had everything all packed up, and I was really nervous about going because I don't like going into cities. And I was driving down the motorway, and I kept seeing sign after sign after sign. I'd see repetitive cars. I'd see number plates very similar. I was feeling really, really supported. And on the way down, I remembered I'd forgotten my charger for my laptop. This was a business course I was going on. It was going to be working on your computer. I needed a charger. So I asked the angels, as I always do, to help me. Got there. I checked into my hotel. I went to the event the next day. And this is the days before Apple computers were sort of as popular as they were. I think it was, what was it now? It was a Dell computer, a Dell laptop it was. And I went, as I was going to bed, I should say, I visualized that it would all be sorted, that I would, somebody would have a spare charger in the venue or something like that, but it wouldn't be an issue. And my computer was pretty old. It didn't hold its charge very well either. Anyway, we got into the room and I sat next to a person, or shall I say, no, I'm going to reword this. I'm going to tell you exactly how it happened. I went to the event early because I was anxious, and I went in there early, and I got there and I picked the place that I wanted to sit, and I sat down and I was like, oh, I hope someone's going to have a charger. Who do I ask? Do I go and ask one of the organisers? What should I do? And this person came and sat down next to me that was also attending the event, and they got their computer out of the bag. And yes, you guessed it. It was exactly the same model as mine. And they had their charger and we could share. How amazing is that? We are so supported. We just have to fully trust. We have to look for our signs, and we have to believe it is possible. So I hope these stories have inspired you to take your manifesting to the next level, to connect more with your angels, because honestly, if you're not, you're making life so much harder for yourself than it needs to be. Until next time, I will see you again really soon. Bye for now. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If so, please hit follow and share my message by sharing with your friends. It would be amazing if you can leave a review. All this will help, and it activates the universal law of the more you give, the more you receive. So it's a win-win. You can find more good stuff between episodes over on social media. Just search The Angel Mystic on Facebook, Instagram or TikTok, or check out the links in the show notes. I'd love for you to connect more over in my free group in Abundance Manifesting, all on Facebook. Hope to see you there.